Good morning. It is 10 a.m. on Friday, January 17th, 2025, and I am calling to order the first meeting of the year for the Public Safety and Justice Committee, and I want to particularly welcome my new Vice Chair, President Otto Lee. Welcome.
Thank you. Honored to be on the board.
This is a good crew. I think you will
Yes.
enjoy being part of this committee. Nancy, let's do a formal roll call vote, please. Roll call.
Vice Chairperson Lee
Good morning, Present.
and Chairperson Ellenberg.
I am here as well.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. We'll move to public comment. This is the portion of the agenda set aside for members of the public wishing to address this committee on matters not on today's agenda, but within the committee's purview. Do we have speakers either in chambers or on Zoom?
We have one speaker on Zoom.
All right, I'll just make a last call. If anyone in the chambers wishes to speak, now's the time to have turned in a yellow card. Seeing nobody dashing with the cards, we'll hear our single speaker on Zoom.
And our speaker is Ben Z. Ben, you have 3 minutes to speak.
Yes, good morning. I've addressed this committee several times already about my kids who are being sexually abused. And the complaint that I have is that I told DA Jeff Rosen that I gave him all the details that, my wife was letting a man anally rape my son beginning when he was 13, that there was unnecessary bathing with the children, that there was some sexual contact between the children, and that there were sudden and abrupt changes in at least 2 of the children. Severe changes. Like my daughter, she was bubbly, she was social, she had tons of friends, and then all of a sudden she became withdrawn, anxious, and she didn't have a single friend. And my son, he became suicidal and strung out on drugs. And so I told him, and I thought, for sure he was going to do something. He was going to send one of his 90 investigators to investigate something. But I was surprised to find out that he went ahead and he filed charges against me. And that's because Valerie Houghton, my former attorney, she's involved in all this. And it's wrong what he's doing. I mean, there are other parents. I know that Violet Brooks also came to him with the issue of her children being molested, and he just ignored her. And I really wish, if you go and you survey, if you survey people who are sitting in prison, hardened criminals, they'll say, you can carjack, you can rob a bank, you can kill people, but the one thing you can't do is you can't rape a child. And I wish that DA Rosen would realize this and stop covering up the sexual abuse of my kids. I wish that he could realize how wrong he is in doing this to my kids, because he is fabricating a fake excuse as to why the county shouldn't conduct a screening for my kids. And I hope that somebody here on this committee can talk to him, sit him down, tell him, hey, this is wrong what you're doing. And just stop it. Stop doing it to parents, stop doing it to children. Just stop it. I hope one of you guys could do something. Or if not, do something to protect my children. I've been asking you guys as well, and you guys just ignore me. Please, President Lee has all my contact information. Thank you for your...
That was the final speaker.
Thank you very much. We will move to consideration of the consent calendar. I want to recommend just a couple of changes. I'd like to add item 8. This is the work plan for Oakland. I want to thank Oakland for the thoughtful plan, and I'm looking forward to some strong, impactful work in the new year. I'd like also to add item 9 to consent. That's the Clean Slate program. I am really optimistic about this program, which appears to be off to a great start. acknowledge that it's too early to really access any trends or determine meaningful success, but I know that we are tracking that, and I will look forward to receiving an update the next time this report comes to the committee. I'd also like to add items 10 and 11. These are reports regarding inmate records information systems implementation efforts and the report regarding custody and enforcement training. I want to thank the staff who worked on both reports. They are very thorough. So just to recap, Nancy, that's items 8 through 11. I'm requesting to add to the consent calendar, and that would be my motion.
Yeah, I'll second that, and actually I do agree. And also on item 14 on the consent calendar, I have a brief comment when appropriate.
Please go right ahead.
Okay. Item 14 is a report from the Custody Health Services on programming. I would like to request that the future reports from CHS include publicly shareable information regarding inmate deaths, suicide attempts, and serious injury. This could be as simple as a table with some numbers, but I certainly would like to know about these cases when they happened. Okay, and that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Just want to look to County Council. Is there any issue with that? I know the board receives confidential reports. What of that is shareable with the public, please?
I'll have to take that back and look at that. There's obviously significant privacy considerations, which can flux depending on the nature of the event.
Right. Thank you, Mikhail.
So why don't we say to the extent permitted?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, thank you very much. Do we have public comment on consent?
There are no requests to speak.
All right, then let's vote on the consent calendar, please.
Vice Chairperson Lee?
Aye.
And Chairperson Ellenberg?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
All right, thank you. That brings us to item 4, which is to receive a report from the Office of the County Executive relating to custodial facilities. Good morning, Consuelo.
Good morning, Chairperson Ellenberg and Vice Chair Lee, Consuelo Hernandez, Deputy County Executive, sharing an update from the county administration. If you might recall, in October of 22nd, 2024, the administration presented its second semi-annual report for 2024. Within that, the administration presented a transformation process for our custodial facilities. That includes 4 different components, and each component is led by a different county representative, and I am here to provide you with an update of those 4 and taking information from my colleagues. The 4 primary components include community engagement, an assessment of our physical facilities from a technical perspective, literature review of best practices across the world in terms of how facilities are best managed, but making that distinction between a county jail versus a prison. And then the third is looking at the projections of our custodial population that we can anticipate in the next 10 years and potential reform that we can take based on Dr. Austin's report that requires a collaboration amongst not just county departments, but outside entities. On the community and stakeholder engagement planning, we are working closely with the Community Correction and Law Enforcement Monitoring Committee to create a subcommittee that will focus on the development of an engagement plan. We have had preliminary meetings and anticipate presenting something through PSJC later this quarter with an update to CSFC after you all have had an opportunity to review that. It is an evolving opportunity to engage with the community, and it is multifaceted. One of those components will include how we manage the review of our facilities, but most importantly, just to articulate that it is a longer engagement process. It isn't intended to only serve as a one-time opportunity, but really looking at an ongoing way that we engage with the community. The second is related to a technical assessment of our facilities. We are in receipt of several proposals and anticipate coming back to the full board in April with a recommendation for a contract. The third is to look at an assessment of best practices and engagement of experts on innovative custodial facility design. We, on the administration side, need a bit more time to do a deep dive. We have several reports, but just need more time to think through who we would actually consult with for additional input in this category. And then the third is to look at the custodial population projection studies. Supervisor Ellenberg, during the October 22nd meeting, you asked administration specifically to come back through PSJC and report on 3 of those specific opportunities for a reduction in the jail population. That includes the reinstatement by the Superior Court of zero bail policy, adoption by the Superior Court of a trial continuance policy as recommended by the National Center for State Courts, and the third, a more efficient calendaring of criminal case and ongoing assessment of case processing. That does require partnership with the Superior Court, the District Attorney's Office, as well as the Public Defender's Office and Independent Defense Counsel Office. That report will come back to you later this year as a separate item. And with that, I am happy to take any questions you might have.
Thank you very much. Do you have any clarifying questions before I go to public comment?
No, go ahead.
All right. Do we have public speakers on this item?
There are no requests to speak.
All right. Vice President, President Lee, questions? Do you want to begin?
Sure. Go ahead. You can start first.
All right. Thank you, Consuelo. I appreciate the report, and I very much appreciate the clear delineation of the 5 streams of work that are moving forward. I appreciate that CCLEM, along with our Office of Diversity and Belonging, are in the process of working toward a community engagement process. I understand that the proposed process will be presented at the March PSJC meeting. I also want to state what I think a lot of people know, but the group of advocates who are mostly interested in this issue, to a large extent, have publicly declared opposition to any new jail. And while I understand that philosophy, I want to share with those folks that I hope you will still engage. I understand that fundamental objection. I also understand that our reality is that as long as we are required by law to keep people in custody locally, we should have facilities that are as least trauma-inducing as possible, that are wholly focused on rehabilitation, and that truly do not further punish people. The punishment is incapacitation and separation from community. It should not be the conditions of incarceration themselves. So I do hope that we will receive robust engagement, even where it is difficult and uncomfortable to perhaps advocate for a system that you believe should be done away with entirely. I also want to make a note on one of the comments, Consuelo, that you noted when we're looking at global models, we're distinguishing between county jails and prisons. That line is sort of blurring because people are staying in county jails for longer periods of time. In fact, the folks that cycle in and out very quickly, for the most part, we're trying to not have enter at all, and to really employ diversion to the greatest extent possible. So I would encourage us to not eliminate from our thinking long-term design, because that's a little bit what in some ways we're moving toward. There's been a lot of conversation about the Norway models, and a lot of local electeds, including former Supervisor Dave Cortesi and Assemblymember Ash Clara, have recently visited Norway facilities. The Smart Justice Group either funds or takes delegations there. It would be very worthwhile for us to make sure that they are engaged in the conversation. And District Attorney Rosen, I still remember so well the presentation that you did when you returned from Germany about 8 or 9 years ago, and your description of really the humanity and pro-rehabilitation focus of the German prisons, and I might invite you to kind of resurrect that presentation at some point during the community engagement process, if you'd be willing to do so. I remember it being really impactful. Great. Thank you very much. That's all I have. I would just move receipt of today's report as presented.
Yes, I'll go and second. I do have a couple of comments and questions. So first of all, thank you very much for the report. And I actually did have a introductory meeting with the CCLM Custodial Facilities Ad Hoc Committee and was happy to see that it's up and active. I had some questions regarding the fourth component regarding the custodial population. In light of the passage of the Prop 36, we expect that there will be impacted, and so both in terms of resource allocation and overcrowding, would you be able to share anything today or maybe in the future regarding how we are getting ready for that?
Thank you, Supervisor Lee. Perhaps I will call on Deputy County Executive Halcon or Chief Operating Officer Hansen, who can help me with this question around Prop 36.
Good morning, Deputy County Executive Casey Halkin. Regarding Prop 36, so we are beginning initial discussions with our criminal justice and public safety partners around the impact of that proposition, and also understanding exactly where those impacts will be felt most acutely, whether that would be our jail population, our partners at the court, or where we think is most likely is in our Behavioral Health Services Department because of the request for treatment. So I know that the Public Defender's Office and the District Attorney's Office is already beginning a preliminary analysis of some of those early cases, and we do have a report back to this committee in April with some of the early information available, which I think will be really helpful for this group as they consider custodial facilities replacement.
Thank you.
Sheriff.
Yeah, just a quick, and it's very preliminary, but what we committed to the county executive's office after the passage of Prop 36 is that we would start tracking any bookings for 666.1, which is a new law in place for, and we've started tracking that since January 1st. We've seen actually a 40% increase in bookings associated with that crime specifically. Not a huge number. We started with 23 in custodies on January 1st. We're now up to 38. We've been tracking that daily. So we will have a more comprehensive report to be able to bring back to this committee.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Any of the other partners who have more of a direct impact on who ends up in our jails want to? Yeah, Javier.
Good morning. Javier Aguirre with the Office of Diversion and Reentry Services. One consideration is to include our Reentry Lived Experience Advisory Board. At previous meetings, our Lived Advisory Board makeup of about 15 really active members in the community, and we have a subcommittee one in South County as well. They would be interested in being part of the community engagement. So I could work with Consuelo. They meet twice a month. Thank you.
Okay. Seeing no other
That's all I have. Thank
other
you.
comments, great. Let's vote on this item, please.
Vice Chairperson Lee
Aye.
and Chairperson Ellenberg.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you so much. Item 5 is to receive a report from the Probation Department relating to the annual adult probation data book for calendar year 2023. This is exciting. It's been a long time since we've done that for the adult population, right, Nick? Chief?
Yes, thank you. Actually, this is the first adult data book that we've put together, so we're real excited about getting that on an annual basis as well as we've done for the juvenile for many, many years. So this is kind of the first attempt at the information sharing of our adult programs and clients that we have out there. So we're really happy that this, working with our research and development team, our probation division managers, getting this all together to just kind of give a snapshot of what it looks like for the adult probation world.
Great, thank you.
Good morning, Mariel Caballero, Deputy Director, Probation Administration, and with us we have Senior Research and Evaluation Specialist Saroj Dital and Probation Division Managers Frank Nessie and Darren Story, who both are managers of the adult probation system. Saroj is, I believe, ready to share his screen. Great, and he'll kick us off.
Hello. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Good morning, everyone. Today we're presenting some key points and highlights of the Adult Probation Division Adult Data Book. Here are the items that we will cover in this presentation. The last bullet point provides the link to the full report, so if you're interested, you can take a look at that one. I will start with the demographics of the adults on active probation supervision. So as of December 31, 2023, there were 4,542 adults under active probation supervision. 84% are male, 58% are Latinos, 66% are of age between 25 and 44 years. This slide presents the disproportional representation of different ethnic groups in the probation service population. The blue bar represents the population in Santa Clara County, and the orange bar represents the service population of the probation department. For instance, blacks represent 2% of Santa Clara County population, but 10% of adult probation service population. Similarly, Latinos represent 25% of Santa Clara County, but 58% of adult probation service population. Hence, you can see blacks and Latinos are disproportionately represented in our service population. This slide shows the trend in number of adults granted probation from 2018 to 2023. Number of adults granted probation has increased from 2020 to 2023. However, the number is still lower than the pre-pandemic levels. This slide shows the trend in crime categories from 2018 to 2023. Weapons crime, felony crimes against people, and property crimes have increased over time, while drugs, alcohol-related offenses, and other crimes have decreased. All probation clients are administered Correctional Assessment and Intervention System, or CASE assessment for short, to assess their risk level. The assessed risk levels for women is uniformly distributed with about a third each of high, moderate, and low risk. 32% of male adults are assessed as high risk, 40% as moderate risk, and 28% as low risk. The next two slides presents the principal service needs for male and female adults. These are the factors that contribute significantly to their legal difficulties. Alcohol and/or drugs, emotional factors, and relationships are the top three service needs for male adults. 65% male adults have alcohol and/or drugs-related service needs. 58% have emotional needs, and 39% have relationship-related needs. Alcohol and/or drugs, emotional factors, and relationships are also the top three service needs for female adults. However, the percentage of female with these service needs are even larger. 75% of female adults have alcohol and/or drug-related needs. 70% have emotional needs, and 44% have relationship-related needs. Now we turn our attention to the AB 109 population. The number of adults under both post-release community supervision, or PRCS for short, and mandatory supervision, or MS for short, have decreased significantly from 2018 to 2023. The demographics of AB 109 adults are similar to those of adults under formal supervision. Higher percentage of AB 109 adults are assessed as high risk relative to adults under formal supervision, with 65% as high risk for adults under PRCS and 51% under MS relative to 32% under formal probation. With that, we conclude our presentation. We'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll look first to see if members of the public wish to address the committee on this item.
There is one request to speak.
All right, just make a final call for speakers both in chambers and on Zoom before I close the queue. We're holding at one?
Holding at one.
All right, let's
And
close the queue, please.
Our speaker is Ben Z. Ben, I'm unmuting you. You have 2 minutes.
Yes, I found it quite alarming that we have an increase in violent crimes and felonies and crimes against people. I mean, is it really a wonder that the numbers have increased? I'm telling you guys that I'm being assaulted by Valerie Houghton, and nobody's willing to do anything about it. DA Rosen knows that she's assaulting me, and she's trying to pressure me to take actions during the proceedings that he filed against me, actions that would jeopardize my children, and he doesn't care. And he's supposed to be the gold standard. I mean, we all look to him as an example of how to behave, and he's just letting her do whatever she wants. And I mean, I'll give you another example. Valerie Houghton, she misappropriated about $10 million from Clyde Berg. And when he tried to get his money back, DA Rosen filed charges against him that he alleged that he raped a pregnant woman with a golf putter. This 80-year-old man with no criminal history. And meanwhile, Valerie Houghton, she didn't spend any time in jail for what she did. To him, to me, to other children, to my children. I mean, our community is completely upside down. He's turning it upside down. Like the criminals get away with everything, and then the victims, they go to jail. I mean, Clyde Berg, he spent 8 days in jail, $3 million on defense attorneys, 3 years fighting the charges. I mean, this has got to change. I mean, our community is not a safe place anymore. Thank you for your time.
And that's the final speaker.
Thank you. President Lee?
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you very much for the very informative report here. This is my first meeting here at the PSJC, so I might still have some follow-up questions after this, trying to learn the basics. But one of the things I find very alarming on the data that's been reported is that alcohol and drugs are by far the most important cause for these risks of so many of those on probation right now. Men, and especially even women, right? We're talking about 2/3 of the whole population, but 3/4 of the female on probation have these type of issues. So my follow-up question really is, how are we actively or are we aggressively engaging everyone on probation to avail them to alcohol and drug treatment opportunities, both inpatient and outpatient services?
Good morning, committee members, and thanks, Supervisor Lee, for that question. That obviously is a big issue for all of our folks that are on supervision. We make sure we collaborate with the Office of Diversion and Reentry. That's the primary method for folks to receive those services. So whether it's a probation officer assessment, a court-ordered treatment that's associated with the probation grant, we will encourage our folks to go to the reentry center and make sure through our monitoring of that case that they do receive those services and engage in the appropriate dosage of treatment as well, whether that's inpatient or outpatient based upon that assessment.
Right, and as we know, most people don't succeed the very first treatment. I think a vast majority takes more than once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. How are we re-engaging that? So even though we refer them there, it was not successful, let's say 2-3 months later, what are we doing to try to continue to make sure that service is being made available?
One of the main, I'd say, skills that our probation officers do have is active listening. And we're always trying to listen and a lot of times when people are coming in for probation for the first time, they're telling probation officers what they want to hear. And we do realize that. And so it's not being quick to be punitive. It's looking to work and trying to find what the drivers are that are actually causing the alcohol and drug use. So our case system, as far as identifying risks and needs, really helps us with that situation. And then we're always listening for ambivalence. We're listening for when a person on probation is really contemplating change. And once they reach that point where they're contemplating change, we know we can be effective. It doesn't stop us from planting the seeds early and always giving the resources that we can. But once someone has reached that point of ambivalence, we find we have a lot of success.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, ultimately, we do not have a coercive system of people to get into detox, but this is and then the other issue I want to talk about is the use of medication to help alcohol addiction is something that has been proven to be very successful for many decades, but surprisingly, it's not been really used by a lot of physicians in terms of treating alcohol as something that needs to be treated other than the behavior issues. So I just want to make sure I raise that issue. I raised that on the health and hospital side as well. Now I'll bring it up again later in our next meeting there to make sure that individuals know that the alcohol addiction, besides going to AA and quit cold turkey, don't drink at all, there are other ways, there are medications that could be used that could be very helpful as well to treat the alcohol addiction as well. So I just want to bring that up also. Again, I mean, this is not a simple and easy issue, but given the numbers of how prevalent it is, it's an issue that we need to continually revisit. And please keep us posted if we could be of more help, whether on the health and hospital side and the on the medical side. Since after all, county hospitals and public health is also a county's responsibility. Right. Thank you.
Thank you all very much, and really congratulations on putting out this first of what I know will become regular reports. It was interesting to me that other than the reference to vocational, hard to get a job, that poverty or economic circumstances, education, work weren't high on that the list of contributing factors. Just an observation. I wonder if with regard to the drug and alcohol use, if you've already been able to dig a little deeper, or if that's coming next, about what kind of treatment and support people are looking for. I know that through the public health crisis work that Supervisor Lee and I kicked off a few years ago, we're now increasing significantly the number of both mental health and substance use disorder beds, and I'm excited for the next quarterly report because I know we've got some good numbers coming. But are you thinking that this is about treatment while in custody? This is about serious enough mental illness or substance use disorder that people should be diverted for treatment? Do they need, are we looking at the level of locked facilities? I know I'm not asking you to make medical diagnoses, but do you have a sense of what level of intensity we're talking about?
Thanks for that, Supervisor Ellenberg. I think we definitely need to examine that further if we take that next level and the next step into the different types of treatment. We really rely upon our partners for those assessments. So I think collaborating a bit more in that front and examining that further would be the next step for us.
Great. I want to make sure that we're matching what people describe as their specific need to what we're able to offer. The report indicates that since 2018, the number of PRCS and MS clients have both been declining. Do you have a comment on what that is maybe attributable to?
Yes, and during that same time on slide 5, we do see an increase in formal probation grants. So I think that's the easiest answer for that. We also see on the CDCR side similar trends on the parole population as well as the institution population.
Thank you. Acting Public Defender Silver.
In some ways, you just stole my thunder. That was actually the question I wanted to ask. And in part, I guess, My question is, are we seeing a decrease in eligible population for those types of supervision? For instance, the PCRS population, we understood at the beginning it was high because the people in custody who were being released ended up on that type of supervision, but in the future would only be eligible for mandatory supervision and only a local sentence. So that trend down tends to make some sense to me. My question was related to the mandatory supervision portion of the population. Are we seeing just a reduction in the volume or the population that's eligible for that type of sentence, or are we actually seeing it being used or utilized, yes, less during the disposition? Because my thought is it basically can reduce an individual having to spend days in custody, and in the alternative, in essence, serving that time while on mandatory supervision in the community and receiving services. So it's kind of a, in my mind, a bit of a win-win, which is it reduces our population in custody, actually gets people out of custody, and ideally allows them to have the support of the probation department rather than simply doing what we'd say a straight sentence and be released and kind of wish them good luck. Do we have any sense?
I think we definitely need to look into the eligibility component for the mandatory supervision cases and how many of those are now going formal probation where there was a prison sentence imposed and just mandatory supervision was the disposition of that case versus a formal probation grant. But I think the same trend would apply with the increase in formal probation grants.
Okay. It would be interesting whether the criminal justice, criminal legal partners should be actually going back to their agencies and talking to internally about whether we encourage people to use this. Sometimes we see good programs just drop in utilization because the culture drifts in that direction. So that's what I was curious about. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Supervisor
Let
Ellenberg,
go.
apologies. I think one of the things that we're starting to see is a leveling off. So if you look from 2021 forward, especially on the MS population, 2022, 2023, you're going to see a leveling off and kind of a stabilization of those MS and even to a certain extent those PRCS numbers. As everyone sort of stated, back in 2018 and even before when AB 109 was first implemented, this is obviously only about a 5-year, 6-year trend line. If you go back to the very beginning, it was significantly higher because more of those folks were in prison and coming out, and as they became less eligible because of AB 109 staying locally, as Damon said, those numbers started to drop. I think with MS, some of this is also COVID, right? So we were sending fewer people to jail and to prison because of COVID, and they were going instead straight to formal probation supervision in the community. And I think that in fact does warrant a little bit further investigation.
And all these trends may continue to change because of Prop 36 as well, right? I mean, this is going to be, my sense is maybe a watershed moment as well for what we see on these charts. Yes?
Thank you. Chief Burchard.
Yeah, thank you. I was just going to highlight Prop 36 as well. And you know, when you look at the percentages of, and just for clarification, risk is risk to reoffend. And then we have our principal service needs, which are the drivers, is what you saw there in the percentage. And the male and female drug and alcohol has risen over the past few years. In the female population clients, it's up to 75% as a driver. And we certainly, and I don't want people to forget that the emotional factors are also, those are the two highest principal service needs for both male and female. So what are we doing as a system to address the emotional factors, which then lead to criminal behavior or drug and alcohol abuse? But to the point of Prop 36, over the next few years, I would say that drug and alcohol abuse is going to even increase percentage-wise, because those folks may have not been on probation prior, and they will now moving forward. So as we receive more clients, I'm going to just guess that percentage will even increase more.
Which, thank you for both comments. That leads me to my next question, which is really about the deferred entry of judgment program. Are you able to identify trends as of yet about what success rates we're seeing for program participants?
For the young adult deferred entry of judgment program, which was a pilot with 6 other counties who were eligible to do this, we actually just released our annual report to the State Assembly Public Safety Committee, and we'd be happy to share that as well. There were some good trends that came out of that specific to the types of services that were provided to young adults between the ages of 18 and I believe 22 or so.
And does that report include an analysis of the program success rate, or would that be a
Yes.
next step? That would.
Yes, it does include a
Oh,
program
great.
success rate. So we can either bring it back to this committee if you're interested, or we can just share that off agenda with the committee members. And
Let's
here.
start with sharing it off agenda, and then we'll follow up if I think it warrants further discussion. But the reason I'm thinking about the successes with the young adults is that if we have these new felony mandated treatment charges, and there are other opportunities to employ that DEJ model, maybe we'll have good success with the adults too. Looking
And
for
that's
any
both
oth-
good and
Yeah,
bad.
please.
I mean, it's good that there will be more
course.
opportunity, but as the cases go up and staffing remains stagnant or less, we'll have to shift resources to be able to accommodate that, as we will have to shift resources, as everyone in here, to accommodate the folks who will now be on probation, who are going through Prop 36 court. Our numbers at one point used to be in drug treatment court, and 300 and 400 folks who were on probation going through drug treatment. It dropped to the 30s. It's already going up in the few weeks, so we expect that to increase, but we will have to, as an organization, shift resources to figure out how are we going to accommodate the number of folks who are going to now be on probation.
That's a really important point, and we'll be looking at a slightly different population in that these are folks who are not necessarily voluntarily entering treatment. And with all of the research that we already have and know is that treatment is much less likely to be successful if it's compulsory and not taken on, at least somewhat voluntarily. So yeah, I think this is going to continue to be interesting conversation through the year as we see the impacts.
And for all of the state legislature and the folks, I'm sure, who are watching our Public Safety and Justice Committee meeting here today, we appreciate the unfunded mandate that now we have to all figure out how to appreciate that. Thank you.
Nothing like appreciation for an unfunded mandate. President Lee.
Yes, one other observation I'm just noticing is also the number of female clients compared to the male clients is about 1/6. The numbers is much smaller. Yet at the same time, the number, of course, we mentioned the alcohol and drugs issues being 75%. So that begs a question, given women and men are different and different issues that we deal with, plus the fact that many of the female clients probably have childcare responsibilities more than the guys do. Right, and given all that, would it make sense for us to look into maybe providing either additional or some type of different approach with those female clients so that we could be more focused on the resources on their alcohol and drug rehabilitation to increase the opportunity and resources being made available?
Here, I'll just say yes, and welcome to the world of public safety and justice, where you see a data and just the layers and layers that go underneath that, or the drivers of men and women differently. Thank goodness in this county that we separate the data so that we can see, because we can see where the women's at 75% and the men are a little bit lower as their drivers. I mean, it's incumbent upon all of us in this room to figure out how do we provide gender responsive and gender-specific services for our female population.
Exactly.
To add to that, I would just say that this is an area where we would need to partner with our friends at Behavioral Health and the Reentry Resource Center, because probation doesn't offer these services directly.
Understood.
They are offered through either contracted providers or on-site at other locations. So I definitely think that's something that we can take back as a suggestion to those partners.
Could you, yes, coordinate and maybe come back. I don't want to give you more reports right back to us, but I really do want you to start that dialogue and when ready to come back to us to let us know what you guys come up with, some maybe additional programs or resources and ideas. I really would like to see how that could be more focused on the woman population in this case. That make sense?
We'd be happy to coordinate some conversations with our partners around that.
Thank you.
That is largely the beauty of this committee. So many great projects and further work has come from the conversations that happen right here. So thank you for that. Are there any other comments or questions? If not, I'll move that we receive the report and look for a second, and then we'll vote.
Oh, definitely second.
All right, let's vote, please.
Vice Chairperson Lee?
Aye.
And Chairperson Ellenberg?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you so much. I guess you'll stay right there. Item 6 is to receive a report from the Probation Department regarding the 2023 Juvenile Justice Commission Annual Inspection of Juvenile Hall and the William F. James Ranch.
Thank you. Joining me at the table are Deputy Chief of Institutions Jill Ugaldi, and as of Monday, Deputy Chief of our Adult Probation Department, Mark Etsy.
Congratulations.
He also used to be the manager at the ranch for several years. And I think at this time, we'd also welcome the Juvenile Justice Commission members to come take a seat if they would like. So with that, I'll pass it off to Deputy Chief Jill Ugaldi.
Good morning, Chair Ellenberg, and good morning, Vice Chair Lee. So I'm Jill Ugaldi, and as Mariel had stated, I'm the Deputy Chief over Institutions. At this point, we would like to just share the 3 inspection reports that were done at our 3 facilities. So that's the James Ranch facility, the Juvenile Hall facility, as well as saw our Secure Youth Treatment Facility, both programs at the Juvenile Hall and the James Ranch. We want to specifically thank the Juvenile Justice Commissioners for coming out and providing oversight of our programs, as well as supporting our youth in both of the facilities. We do not have a formal presentation for you all today, but we are here to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. I'd like to invite the Juvenile Justice Commission members to address the committee if you'd like to do so before I go to public comment. We begin with your names, please.
Thank you. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I'm Stephen Betts. I'm the chair of the Juvenile Justice Commission, and I have with me here Marcy Beniciti, who was chair of one of our inspection reports. Yeah. Well, I would just say in summary that I think we're very impressed by the work that the probation department does in its facilities. We've made a number of recommendations, and they've responded very appropriately or helpfully. And so, yeah, we're very pleased with what we see at the, and talking to other commissions around the state, we recognize that we really are head and shoulders above the rest of the counties, I think.
All right. Let's see if we have members of the public wishing to speak.
There is one request to speak on Zoom.
All right, let's hear our speaker.
Ben, I'm unmuting you. You have 2 minutes to speak.
Yes, I mean, there was a recent report that was cited in the Child Welfare Ad Hoc Committee, and that is that over 50% of the children currently in juvenile hall have at some point had a report made to the CANC Center regarding child abuse. And I really think that we can reduce the number of children on probation, the number of children who enter juvenile hall, if we could just properly address child abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse. I mean, we had 3 children in 1 year who died when reports were made to the TAC Center, parents calling, concerned about what's going on. And in addition to that, one of the grandparents, Jordan Walker's grandfather, is suing the county. So we're paying more money. When in the beginning, we should have just addressed the child abuse to begin with. And I mean, as D.A. Rosen, he's sitting up there right now. He knows that my kids are being sexually abused, and the guy just doesn't care. He doesn't give a shit about what's going on with my kids. And we need to get rid of these attitudes. We need to start caring about our children, and we're just not doing it. And going up here, presenting these reports, saying everything's great and trending in the right direction is just, it's wrong. And it's wrong to do this to the public, to fool them into believing that you're doing your jobs when you guys aren't doing your jobs. You guys are neglecting my kids and ruining the future of our county. Thank you for your time.
That was the final speaker.
All right, thank you. President Lee.
Yes, thank you. First of all, I want to express our gratitude to the Commission for their thorough work and dedication of your volunteerism of a very important work that you're doing. Thank you for doing that. And also, I want to say congratulations to James Ranch, based on report for the commitment to tracking these recidivism data, maintaining the low level of use of force, and the awards also received by the principal and for the educational programs. All of these programs do show that there's a shared commitment to rehabilitation and the holistic care, and I do have some follow-up questions and a couple of requests as well. First is that I do understand that this report was delayed due to some transitional changes. Based on your experience, is there anything that can be done to help avoid these challenges in the future?
I think we are on a cadence now that we should not hopefully have delays in the future. This is partially dependent on when we receive the reports, but also on our ability to get onto the agenda. So we're working closely with staff to ensure that these do come annually to the Public Safety and Justice Committee moving forward.
Good, thank you. For the grievances that have gone through the due process, the Board of the State and Community Corrections handle these. What type of information is able to be shared publicly, and can we report that information to this committee as well?
Yes, so we collect all of our grievances. We have record of all of those. Due to confidentiality, due to it being juveniles, some of the data would need to be aggregate that's reported back, but that's something that we definitely could provide this committee moving forward.
Good, thank you. And similarly, seeing the use of force reports here would also be appreciated if we could. Yes?
Yes, we'd be happy to do that. We provide them to the Children, Seniors, and Families Committee now, so we can also agendize them for this committee.
Great, thank you. My request is as follows. We have two systems in place for treating our youth, and these two systems look and function quite differently. But I would like to see if there's any way we could have some type of side-by-side report to compare the services, data around the incidences, grievances, and use of force, and some type of outcome metrics for the different programs between the James Ranch and our juvenile hall. It would be helpful to have a simple visual way to compare these two facilities and the work that's been doing, and hopefully through one or the other, we could improve the other. And most likely is, I think James Ranch is one that we are very happy with, many of the work, but in terms of juvenile hall, I think there's certainly improvement that should be made. And I was just there actually about a month ago during the holiday seasons, but there was a event by one of the nonprofits, been doing it for a decade, to go in and provide food and some encouraging thoughts to our kids in the juvenile hall that day, and I think it was very festive. But I certainly would like to see if we could find more ways to compare the data so that we could continually improve in the juvenile hall system. Number one. Number two is maybe if there's more possibility of moving more of the kids from Juvenile Hall to James Ranch. Since James Ranch is so successful, it's not a capacity issue. If we could, I think that seems to be potentially a better place for them. So when is a good date for this report to come back to the committee?
We'll be reporting out actually this month on to CSFC on use of force, so we're happy to provide that at the next Public Safety and Justice Committee if the committee is amenable to that. And then I believe related to grievances, probably sometime in early summer, just to allow us to have some time to clean that data and perhaps look at a year's worth of data for you. Related to a side-by-side comparison, I think we need to perhaps have some conversations offline with staff about the different purposes of the two facilities, because there is some nuance between how the facility, who is in the facilities, and obviously outcomes would be different based on who's committed. And the probation department doesn't actually control who goes to the James Ranch. That is a court decision.
Oh, I see. So that's also court issues as well that we need to figure out. And obviously, as we understand, the purpose is different. Kids with significant risk, safety risk, violence tendencies and whatnot might not be as suitable for James Ranch, obviously, and that's why the juvenile hall might be more appropriate given the circumstances of each are very different. But I certainly would like to see if we could obviously improve the juvenile hall system as best we can. Thank you. Thanks. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Thank you to the commissioners, and please thank your fellow commissioners on behalf of the committee as well for the really diligent and caring work that you do with regard to our facilities and to our youth population. It's really important and very much appreciated. I know you've made some recommendations to the department to collect longitudinal data that can demonstrate whether our programs are actually effective at reducing recidivism and increasing engagement in education and employment, which of course is the primary goal. We want kids that come through our system to be one and done. How long does the department track outcomes?
We currently, specifically for the ranch?
Ranch and juvenile hall.
So I'll need to get back to you on that specifically. We don't, we collect recidivism outcomes, but we don't currently collect additional outcomes unless youth are still currently on probation.
Okay, so recidivism, how long? Just as long as they're on probation, you're not looking out a year after?
We do look out beyond a year, depending on the cohort. We present recidivism data in the Juvenile Justice Crime Prevention Act and YOB Youthful Offender Block Grant reports that we present to the Juvenile Justice Coordinating Council. And those are for the majority of our programs, including aftercare at the ranch. So I just don't have that information off the top of my head.
I know I believe it's 10 months in the aftercare program. I'm not sure about supervision, but what I'm interested to know really is what you all believe is the ideal length of time to track for recidivism results, and what are the best practices if kids don't reoffend for 8 months. We know that the likelihood is going to be considerably likely that they won't. Do we need to watch for a year and a half to have that information? There must be best practices around that.
We have found that most youth, regardless of risk level, reoffend within the first 3 to 6 months after release from probation. Beyond that, it's fairly minimal, the time over time increase. We actually just studied this for the first time this last year and presented it to the Juvenile Justice Crime Coordinating Council. So we'd be happy to share that information again off agenda with the rest of this committee, because I think you'll see that there are some very consistent trends related to recidivism about when young people reoffend.
Okay.
So I would not suggest more than a year. That's about what most folks go out. But that we can definitely have a conversation about what the board would prefer.
Yeah, I would like to have more information to understand, compared to the best practice, are we tracking for a sufficient amount of time? Are we seeing the results that we would expect to see? And as with everything that we do at the county and with every public dollar we spend, I want to know not just the output, but are we really having impact? Are we really making our community safer? Are we helping kids thrive? All the same things that you want. I realize I'm preaching to the choir, but I want the choir to be able to throw down the receipts and say what we're doing is working. So thank you for coming back to us with that. Go ahead, Chief Pritchard.
Just to comment on that, it's a little easier when they're on probation for the period of time. And just as laws change and legislation change, and there's been more this year that's being adopted, it's becoming harder and harder because cases and sealing records for youth, once they're off probation, it's harder to then track for us the data pool of whether they were even on probation. And so it's becoming harder and harder, the longevity piece of that. But certainly while they're on probation for that 6 months, 8 months, or a year, depending how long that is, it's a little easier to track that.
That's a really fascinating tension because, of course, we want their records to be cleared. Of course, we don't want them to have this long tail. I guess the way to track them after they're off of probation is, do they come back into the system? And hopefully those answers are no, but we can track, if they do come back in, how long it has been since they left probation, right?
And for a certain group, we can check to see if they've been involved in the adult system on the jail. So we track recidivism into the adult. We don't just track it on the juvenile side. So if they're 17, they get off probation at 18, and they committed an offense as an adult, we're still able to track that piece of it.
Yeah. And how is that data presented to us? Is that part of the data book, or will it be part of, again, just looking to see how we measure our impact?
Sure. We have not traditionally included recidivism in the juvenile probation data book. We do include it in the, as I mentioned, the JJCPA YOBG annual evaluation reports that go to the Juvenile Justice Coordinating Council. I apologize for all of the acronyms there. But
I know most of them.
Yes. Supervisor Lee, we'll get you a list. But we do report them there annually. This was the first year that we looked beyond a year, I believe, for some of our programs, and we did actually do sort of a like a funneling kind of graph to show, like, this was when they left, this was within 3 months, this was in 6 months, this was within a year or so more for certain programs. There are many reasons why it's difficult to track this over time, but we're doing our best to try to improve that always. And then we're also looking at ways to share this information on our public dashboards when it's appropriate.
Great. Thank you. Thank you both. Switching topics a little bit, I have a question about mutual aid. Noted that 2 of our evacuation options are in the south of the county, and this is on my mind because of the natural disasters right now in Santa Cruz and, of course, the fires. Certainly, given that temporary housing in main jail is the least ideal option, has there been consideration of any mutual agreement with any county to the north of us? Just literally hedging our bets on climate and catastrophe?
So we've had several incidents where we've had to evacuate the James Ranch facility, and we've been able to effectively move those youth to our juvenile hall facility temporarily. In addition, the mutual aid agreement that we currently have with Santa Cruz County, we were able to house their youth when they were in crisis during an event that had happened a couple years back. As of right now, we can look into other counties, but we've had a successful relationship and collaboration with both Santa Cruz in providing that mutual aid, as well as being able to move back and forth amongst our own facilities to be able to accommodate.
So let me be clear, I'm not suggesting there's any problem with Santa Cruz. I'm just thinking that geographically, geologically, could the same issues plague both our South County and Santa Cruz at the same time? Is it important to have another option? And if you all in your expertise tell me that that's not necessary, it's not something I want to push. I just want to know if you've considered it, and if not, is it worth considering whether we should have an option that's to the north of us? Greta has her light on, so I'll go there first.
Yeah, I'll just add, I think, this question is really critical for all of our correctional facilities and other mission-critical facilities during disaster preparedness. So as part of our holistic facility assessment that we'll be doing of our adult correctional facilities, we're also looking at our juvenile facilities to make sure we're identifying any needed investments around hardening and safety, as well as what are our continuity of operations plans for all of our critical facilities. I think, the juvenile hall facility obviously has a lot more capacity than we're currently ever utilizing. And so moving young people from, keeping them in our own custody, moving them from the ranch to juvenile hall from a facility size and capacity standpoint is generally not going to be an issue. We also do have a good amount of sort of natural barriers to, for example, fire activity, just by virtue of what's around the juvenile hall to protect it from that type of event. But of course, in the event of, say, a massive earthquake where a lot of our county facilities might be compromised at the same time, we need to have backup plans in place, as do all other facilities in the Bay Area. And of course, Santa Cruz is close enough that that could happen at the same time. So both having plans in place now is something that we feel pretty confident we're already in a good position, but we're entering a process where we're going to be reassessing that for all of our correctional facilities generally, as part of our holistic facility assessment around seismic safety and other emergency capacity.
Great, thank you so much. I want to hit just one more topic on this item. The commission recommended adding additional staff, wouldn't that be nice, to provide complete wraparound services for youth and families. It appears that the department concurs. There's currently a medical social worker on staff that supports youth in custody. Clearly, additional support would be beneficial to allow for coordination and transition of care. I'm curious to know, first, what additional support, if you're able to be specific, do you think would be needed for WRAP services to take place once a youth has re-entered? Is it specifically a staffing issue, or are there other factors there?
I can't speak to the criteria of related to WRAP, but what I could say is that this is a behavioral health operated service, so we would defer to them on what staffing capacity they might need.
That's fair. And the commission calls out specifically the need to fully wrap youth and families in a meaningful way. I know that's both vague and critical, to address health inequities and subsequent consequences. And of course, your response was that those services are already provided by behavioral health. And of course, what struck me, and this happens again across departments and county services, that there's sometimes a disconnect between what we provide and how we're defining services and what the commission or the members may define as meaningful. And I'm wondering, to the commission members, do you have any interface or interaction directly with behavioral health to be able to ask these questions about what the services look like, and do you have a shared definition of meaningful?
Yes, we do in fact have contact with behavioral health. In fact, we're hoping to have a meeting with them in the very near future.
Excellent.
As far as definition, I think I'm going to pass on that one. I don't have that information to hand immediately.
Okay. Well, if you're communicating with them, I think that shared understanding is important, so that when we say WRAP services, we're all talking about the same things, or at least the same ideals. All right. Thank you all. Thank you to probation. Thank you to the commission members, to committee members up on the dais for your good questions and input. I don't know if we had a motion here.
Happy to receive the report.
I'm happy to second. Let's vote, please.
Vice Chairperson Lee?
Aye.
And Chairperson Ellenberg?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you. Item 7 is to receive a report from the probation department relating to the juvenile Justice Commission annual inspection of the Secure Youth Treatment Facility Program. And who would like to begin there?
We have nothing to add
Okay.
to the report. We're happy to answer questions.
Great. Do the commissioners want to add anything before we go to questions?
Yes, most certainly. I think you're probably very well aware that the Secure Youth Treatment Facility was something implemented with the closure of the California Youth Authority. And one of the things that has particularly impressed the Commission is how this county has really stepped up to the plate on this one. They were given very short notice to develop a program, and again, talking to other commissions and looking what's going on in other counties, I think we've really done an outstanding job in this county as far as getting program up and running and going out, looking at the program. There have been a few hiccups along the way, bring it to fruition, but overall we're really impressed by it, and I think we have an outstanding program. And to go back to one of the recommendations on our previous reports was we really feel it's important to gather data, because when we go in there, we're impressed by this program, and we believe the data will show that this is in fact an effective program that's making a difference in the lives of these youth. And we'd like to see that in concrete form so that people can see that taxpayer dollars are being well spent.
I appreciate that, and significant credit there goes to former Chief Garnett, who was part of the committee that envisioned this transition and the return of kids to their home counties. And Chief Burchard, of course, has followed in very much the same philosophy and design. So, thank you both for that. I will look first to public commenters. Unless your light is on, Otto, do you want to say something first?
Public
Okay.
face, yes.
Do we have members of the public?
There are no requests in chambers or on Zoom.
All right. President Lee?
Yes, sirs. Again, thank you for the Juvenile Justice Commission for the thorough inspection of this Secure Youth Treatment Facility Program as well. This work, again, is critical in helping us improve and support the success of our youth. Now, the report also highlights the outstanding cross-departmental collaboration among probation, alternative education, behavioral health, medical services, and other departments, all working together to ensure that our youth have the tools they need to thrive. The launch of the LIFT program is a very significant milestone. This innovative program, supported by James Ranch staff and partners, especially the County Office of Education and the Behavioral Health Department, is preparing our youth for successful reentry into the community. So lots of good news here, and I do see that the tracking has started this summer 2024. So it's good that now we're tracking these data. I'm hoping to see that with the tracking, we have some further good news as we see the data being collected, right? Great. Thank you so much. That's all I have. And I'm ready to move to receive report.
Happy to second that. Looking for any lights there. Yes, go ahead, please, Chief.
I was just going to mention that concludes the probation department's Public Safety and Justice Committee. To Supervisor Lee, no, this isn't just about us here. There are other departments here that we're willing and want to hear from. So just thank you.
Well done. Thank you. Phase 1 of the evaluation plan was completed in June of 2024. Is there an initial evaluation? When is that going to be completed and available for stakeholder review?
Our plan is to submit our updated plan as well as our evaluation to the Office of Youth and Community Correction on May 1st when it is mandated. We also have several juvenile justice realignment subcommittees of the JJCC planned for February 6th, and I don't recall the other dates, where we'll be going over some of the information. So we always use the data from previous years to inform what we do next. So we'll be sharing some of that information in future ledge files.
Excellent, good, thank you very much. I read that some of the youth that were surveyed by the commission indicated concerns, no surprise, with housing stability upon their release from programs. I'm proud to share or re-announce for anyone that wasn't at our board meeting on Tuesday, my colleagues and I approved a contract with the Bill Wilson Center to provide transitional housing to secure track youth. I'm feeling encouraged by that. I don't know what the capacity match will be, but looking forward to learning more about that and to understanding whether we can meet the current need or need to expand opportunities for youth who are reentering the community. So thank you, all of you, again, for really, really good work. Let's vote, please.
Vice Chairperson Lee?
Aye.
And Chairperson Ellenberg?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you so much. We approved items 8, 9, 10, and 11 on consent. Item 17 is our announcement item, so I would look up and down on both sides of me for announcements. I have a couple. Public Defender Silver.
I'm going to ask for a moment of indulgence and maybe a forgiveness from County Council on failing to make a comment earlier on the on item 10 related to the, and I'll be very brief, but I did want to make this acknowledgement of the Sheriff's Office and the Sheriff's Office staff, which involves the inmate, well, in part, the inmate tracking system, which I think there was quite a bit of anxiety, both internally in our office as well as community, about, in essence, the use of digital chips to track our clients and people in custody. And really, as a result of the work and the transparency by the sheriff and his team, they brought our office in, they showed us how the system worked, and it became quite clear that it really is a system, from our perspective, that is as much rooted in insurance of delivery of service. For instance, ensuring monitoring of individuals who may be in crisis. That we felt much differently about it. And I just wanted to acknowledge the sheriff, his staff, that much of our anxiety was reduced as a result of their approach. So I wanted to thank them.
Thank you for that acknowledgement. I was able to have a presentation by the TSS group. If you haven't yet, I encourage it. They really are doing, I think, an excellent and responsible job. So I would add my thanks there, too. Other announcements? Good for lights. As many of you know, the Reentry Network, in its formal contemplation, has been dissolved and absorbed into Public Safety and Justice. We're going to hold 2 special study sessions. These are in addition to the regular committee meetings. So if you're noticing 2 additional meetings on your calendars, this is why. They are to focus wholly on reentry topics that have been selected by former Reentry Network members. The first special session will be held in March, and it will review late-night jail releases. And the second will be held in November and will explore the continuum of services across diversion and reentry systems, including behavioral health programs and services funded by AB 109. Former Reentry Network members, of course, will be invited particularly to participate in these study sessions, but of course I encourage them to show up and engage at all PSJC meetings as well as the other commissions and work that are focused on our criminal legal system and related departments here. Second, just an announcement of something that I learned yesterday at a CSAC meeting. Inyo County closed its juvenile hall a year or 2 ago, and since has redirected all of that funding to PEI programming. They're creating a community court. They're focusing on restorative justice. I understand that their scale is very different than ours, and they send maybe 1 or 2 kids a year to an out-of-county facility. Many years they don't send anyone at all, so they really are able to focus locally on keeping kids out of the system, and I'm looking forward to learning more from my Inyo County colleagues on that. All right, light on? Yes, Sheriff?
If I may take the opportunity, since it's the new year and we have several faces in the audience, that I think are important to put a face and a name to for this particular group.
Please.
Due to recent promotions, one being Dalia Rodriguez, who is now the undersheriff for our organization, sitting there in the back corner.
Oh, that's great.
The other is Adam Oberdorfer, who just took over as assistant sheriff for our patrol division enforcement.
Excellent.
Thomas Duran's an old hand, so he's in the audience. You all know him.
We'll clap
And
for you, too.
Yes, and then Michelle Asbin will be taking the role as assistant sheriff over our custody facilities starting on Monday. So we're happy to have this executive team being here today, in addition to all the support staff. So thank you.
Congratulations all around, and as well to Judge Emity, who is now the presiding judge of the Superior Court. Good to see you back here and now regularly with us. And all the other faces we know. So I'm going to adjourn this meeting. Our next regular meeting is scheduled for Friday, February 14th, because there's nothing you'd rather do on Valentine's Day at 10 a.m.